Hi, welcome to my channel. How are you? This is your boy. Um, okay, today's topic is IAS 36, which is impairment. So I have just recorded my Urdu language lecture just before this video. I'm gonna use the same template or same notes, so I don't have to write over again. Okay, there are two things which reduces the value of the asset. One is impairment and one is depreciation. Depreciation is the systematic way of reducing the asset as of the wear and tear. Like if you have a machine and it is with you for a long time, then it means that every machine has a life. Suppose if you have a machine which makes iPhones, so like you bought a new machine and you say that machine has 10 years life, so that every year you depreciate it over its useful life. So this is systematic. So if you see my example here, the cost is of 10,000 and the life is of 10 years, and scrap value is 0. And the way we calculate this is the formula to calculate depreciation. Depreciation is the cost minus scrap value, if any scrap value of our life. So in this question we have 10,000 as a cost. 10,000 minus scrap value is in this question, I assume there is no scrap value, and divided by 10 years. So it means every year you have a depreciation of 1,000. So this is your cost. 1 year depreciation 1,000. It means NBV at year 1 is 9,000. NBV, net book value, after year 2 is 8,000. So this is, you can see, is systematic way of reducing the amount. But impairment is sudden fall in value. A sudden fall in value is, suppose you have a NBV of NBV is 10,000 and the maximum recoverable amount is 8,000. It means you have an impairment of 2,000. The 2,000 has been reduced, like suddenly it fell down. So when to calculate impairment? When we say it is a need, we need to calculate impairment. So there is three steps. First we get the hint. It means first we will get the hint that we need to calculate impairment. So it means we cannot say let's do impairment on this, let's do impairment test on the other plant and machinery. No, first we get the hint. So what is hint? So hint means you get the idea that you might lose the net book value. You might reduce the price of my damage. First is hint. Once we get the hint, we go to the asset and then we do the impairment test, and then we say yes, impairment is here, or we say no, there is no impairment. So there are two. What do you mean by hint? There are two hint factors. One is internal and one is external factors. Internal factor, the example of the internal factor is like I have a iPhone, suppose. I actually have iPhone 11 Pro Max. Like you guys post that if I have iPhone 11, okay, and or some other inventory. Suppose I have some other inventory, and one of the inventory guy, he dropped that inventory, and he came to me. He said, "Oh, it slipped from my hand, so that the inventory is being damaged." So it means if I got the first hint that he damaged the inventory, so I'll go to the asset and then I'll do the impairment test. I can either do the market value or fair value, and then this is your hint, internal hint, that you get damaged, or the accident of the car. Like I have a car and one of the guys says your car just got damaged or just got an accident. So it means I get the hint that we might lose the price. This is the internal factor. The second internal factor is change change of the asset. Suppose you have a plant. If I have a plant of hand sanitizers, and I do 8 hour shift, my asset is working 8 hours every day. But due to the coronavirus, the demand for that hand sanitizers goes high, so I have to meet that demand, so I need to increase my supply. So instead of using 8 hours, I started using 24 hours with 3 shifts: 8 hours in the morning, 8 hours in the evening, and 8 hours in the night. So previously the asset was using we were using asset for 8 hours, but now we are using asset for 24 hours. It means being roughly used. So it will like depreciation will be there, but apart from the depreciation, because of the rough use, there must be an impairment. Because we say, if you use the asset for 8 hours and the depreciation is 1000, but now we are using, instead of 8 hours, we are using 24 hours. So it will reduce the value of the asset. It means change in the asset. It means it will give me a hint of impairment. The last one is planning to sell an asset. If I want to sell my mobile, I must say that like if I approach you that I want to sell my mobile, so the first thing come in your mind is why you want to sell your mobile. Is there any problem? Is there any fault with my mobile? Or maybe I want to buy another phone. So it means it is the hint for the impairment, that why you want to sell anything. Now come, let's study external hints. External hints means change in technology. Like previously, now I have a iPhone 11 Pro Max, but now I heard 15th September iPhone is launching a new phone. So because of the new technology, the old technology price will go down. I know the iPhone 11 was like, say I bought it for £1,300. So now new phone is coming. Definitely my iPhone 11 price will go down. So this is change in technology is the external factor, is an external hint for your impairment. Next is increase in interest. Let's Before you read this, I will give you an example. Um, so once we say that there is an impairment, then how we will calculate the recoverable amount? We calculate the recoverable amount. Recoverable amount is the higher of either fair value less cost to sell, or value in use, which is a present value, the future cash flows. So if for any asset you can have benefit in two things. One, you can have the benefit from the asset by selling it, or you can have the benefit of the same asset by uh, by by selling it or by using it. So who has done F9, they knew already. If we discount factors, if we discount or we record all the cash flows after discounting or with the present value, which is more than 12 months. So if we say the first year cash flow will be 100,000, second year cash flow will be 200,000. If you say, if I reduce this cash flow, future cash flow, my present value will go down. When my present value will go down, my value in use will go down. Okay. If I increase cash flows, it will increase my present value. And if present value will go up, the value in use will go up. Or the discount factor, suppose the discount factor is 10, if I increase the discount factor, my present value will go down because it will affect my present value. So we need to calculate, once we are sure that impairment is there, so we need to calculate how much impairment. Then this is the formula: higher of fair value less cost to sell. Suppose I have a sale price of 1000 and cost to sell is 100. It means I have the value, fair value cost to sell is 900. Or suppose I have a cash flow is 800. If I use my asset for future 5 years, I will get 800. But if I sell it now, I will get 900. So it means maximum is 900 I can take. The maximum higher of these two is 900. Suppose if my carrying value is 100 and my recoverable amount is 90. Suppose I have 1000 as my carrying value, but maximum benefit I can have is of 900. So it means this is the recoverable amount. It means 100 is impaired. This 100 is impaired. It means you have an impairment of 100. And suppose if you have a carrying value of 800 and recoverable amount is 900, in this case it means no impairment. There is no impairment because the carrying value is less than recoverable amount. But if you have a carrying value greater than a recoverable amount, impairment is must. Okay, let's do this example now. Cost is, just read the question first. This question now. The cost is 20,000. Life is 5 years. These are the expected future cash flows. Discount factor is 10% and fair value less cost to sell. Cost to sell is 10,000. Okay. How we will calculate? First calculate the depreciation and the carrying amount. 20,000 divided by 5 years means 4,000 is your depreciation, right? Cost is 20,000. After year 1, 4,000 is depreciation for year 1, depreciation for year 2, depreciation. Net book value for the year 2 is 8,000. After year 2, the net book value is 8,000. Okay, and now we need to calculate the impairment. Higher of, we would say cash less to sell is 10,000. Okay, and the future cash flows is, how we will calculate future cash flows? We have already here, where is it? 3,000, 2,000 and 6,000 as your future cash flows. So these are my future cash flows, this and this, and I will multiply this with the discount factors. So you get this as a present value. So the present value is 8,885. So this and this, which is higher? So I must say 10,000 is a higher of this. So you can see net book value is 8,000 and the maximum benefit you can take or recoverable amount is 8,000. So carrying recoverable amount is greater than net book value, so it means no impairment. And suppose if you have 8,000 as a carrying value and you have recoverable amount, suppose you have here as, suppose we have instead of 8,885 we have, suppose we have 7,000 here and we have 6,000 here. So higher of these two will be 7,000. So it means only 1,000 is being impaired. So we need to calculate the impairment. So this is the way we calculate the impairment. So this is the way I write. Impairment is will be there if you have a carrying value. If you have a carrying value greater than recoverable amount. If we have a carrying value which is greater than recoverable amount, impairment is must. So I just gave you the example already before. 120, if you have a like in revaluation model, if you have a higher of value in use and fair value less cost to sell, value in use is 120. So, and you have a suppose you have an and net book value of 130. It means net book value is greater than recoverable amount. So it means 130 is your NBV and recoverable amount is 120. So it means 10 is impairment. Impairment is 10. I'm just because I have already written for my Urdu lecture before this English one. I recorded an Urdu lecture before, so I'm using the same template. So if you feel like I'm going fast, you can pause my video and you can go back and um, you can you can pause my video back and you can watch my lectures back if you think I am going really fast. Okay, now we will study let's study this CGU, cash generating units. Suppose we have a carrying value of goodwill 5,000, plant 10,000, machine is of 20,000, van 5,000, cash 2,000. So total is 42,000. But we say in the I'm just assuming this question, and suppose we have a CGO recoverable amount is 33,000. The maximum we can get is 33,000. It means 9,000 is impaired. Impairment is 9,000. And in the question it says specifically when recoverable amount of van is 4,500. So how we will allocate the impairment? How much will go to goodwill, how much will go to plant, how much will go to machine, and how much will go to van? Here we will write impairment, and here we will write recoverable amount. So it says specifically, it says 4,500 is the van recoverable amount. Van is here, so specifically for 4,500 is the recoverable amount for van. So it means out of 5,000, 4,500 we are getting a recoverable amount. It means 500 was being impaired in van. Cash, let's do the cash. So if I have 10,000 now, after 10 years I will have the 10,000, I will have the same amount. The cash never get depreciated. We do not depreciate cash, or we do not calculate impairment on cash. So no impairment on cash. Recoverable amount is 2,000 for cash. The goodwill, so impaired, if you get impairment, your whole goodwill will go off. we need to take whole goodwill off. So whole will go off. So recoverable amount is 0 and the whole of goodwill will be this. Impairment allocation, let's do here. Total was 9,000 total impairment. Out of this, van, we allocated 500 to van. Okay, this one, this I'm just writing this make you understand. And goodwill, we distributed to goodwill. How much we distributed to goodwill? 5,000. So how much we have already distributed? 5,500. It means remaining is 3,500. Remaining impairment to allocate is 3,500. So we need to allocate this into plant and machine. We need to allocate out of this remaining balance. We need to allocate some to plant and some to machinery. These two we need to make a ratio. Add these two. 10,000 and 20,000 is 30,000, and plant has 10,000 value. So multiply by remaining depreciation, remaining impairment, which is 3,500. This will go to plant. How much we are calculating to plant? 1155 will go to plant. Impairment. Okay, plant, we will allocate it 1155 to plant. Now calculate machinery. 20,000 is the value, divided by 30,000, multiply by remaining remaining impairment, which is 2335 will be impaired, and remaining recoverable amount is 10,000 minus 1155. For plant remaining is 8845, and for machinery it is 17665. And we need to allocate 2335 to machine, and it means impairment is 0. So this is the way we calculate the allocation. This is the way we allocate impairment over. We will spread this over the assets. So the steps are how we will calculate steps of impairment allocation. First we will say obvious or specific impairment. Like in my previous example, the van was specific. It was in the question that 4,500 is a recoverable amount and 500 was being specifically impaired. We will allocate impairment to the specific. Second, the whole goodwill, we will take the goodwill off. The second, we will take the goodwill off, and the remaining impairment to be apportioned on the remaining assets. And this is the same way we have done our previous question. First we will specifically, then we take the goodwill off, and then remaining will be apportioned. Okay, the last topic for the day is there are 3 assets on which we calculate impairment annually. Every year we will calculate we do impairment test. Purchased goodwill. If you have purchased a goodwill, then we need to calculate impairment like goodwill. Okay. Second, intangible asset with indefinite life, like copyrights or any intangible asset with indefinite life. We need to calculate impairment annually every year. An intangible asset not yet available for use. So on these 3 assets we calculate impairment every year. So this is the complete IAS 36. So please do subscribe my channel. I'm just making these lectures for self-study students. Please let your friends know to subscribe it. Let your friends, please share my videos more, so more people will get benefit out of this. Alright, next topic will be IAS 40. The next video will be on IAS 40. Thank you. See ya. Bye.